sitting there asking yourself, what prices should you charge? Do you want to know what your competitors are pricing their products at? Have you thought to yourself, should my prices be any different? If that's you thinking about Faire, then this video is for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. What I'm going to do in this video is walk you through the spreadsheet which we give to our clients and walk through with our clients on how exactly can you price your products at that optimal point. Now, there's a lot of questions we're going to go through in this, but just try and give it your best. The most important thing is that you get there directionally correct and then rely really on what the successful competitors in your business are doing. So that's why we created this sheet. It's a pretty easy sheet. All you need to do is make sure you fill in everything that's in blue and white, and you just write in the numbers there that are asked for. And I'm going to walk you through an example of what this looks like. It's broken down into a few areas. Number one, your competitors' pricing calculator. This works out how much are your competitors selling their products for, what is their wholesale price, what is their retail price, and what's the margin and markup look like, and what does that then mean for your business. Once we then get those in, we'll go run through some analytics. We'll show you the markup, what it looks like by competitor, the margin by competitor. We're also going to then walk you through the Faire markup calculator to make sure that you're making enough money per sale. And then we'll walk into what are your ideal prices and what are the current prices that you've got, and does it work with Faire at the moment. So there's a lot to get through. Let's jump in. Now, of course, I'm going to show you everything that we've done here from scratch. If it's something that you want, we're going to put a link where you can purchase this Excel sheet. But of course, everything here is for free, so you can check it out and see what it looks like. So let's start with the competitors' pricing. Now, what's really important here is that you have access to a Faire retailer account. This is going to show you exactly what products, what prices people can purchase, your customers, what they can purchase and at what prices. So what I've got here to show you and give you an example here is some research I've done for the competitors behind Faire. I say behind because they're not doing as well as us. Anyway, what we have here is our products. At the moment, we're selling them for £3.95 and they've got an RRP of $9.99. Now, your audience here, or most of the audience that we have, is US based. So we've put everything in this sheet in US dollars, but if you're not in US dollars, that's fine. Just ignore the dollar signs and think about it in your own currency. So let's just check out our prices, okay? They're all looking identical, pretty much the same, exact same product, exact same quality. Okay, we're then gonna whack it in here. So this is Faire Kind. Let's go $3.95 for the wholesale price and $9.99 for retail price. Now, I've already added in some competitors here as well, which should help kind of just give you an idea of what it would look like to go through. Now, what I recommend is put in the website, so the Faire Direct website here in the commentary, so you can go back and see exactly where that website was, how many 5-star reviews that business potentially has. You don't really want to be focusing on those businesses that aren't super successful. And then any other notes. Are they luxury? Are you guys not luxury? Maybe you're a cheap business. You're kind of going for volume, whereas the other products that you're comparing against aren't. So that's something that you've got to check out as well. So let's walk through these competitors bit by bit. Competitor number 2 here has a wholesale price of $3 and they sell their products for $6.99. That means the retailer has a margin of 57% or a 2.3 times markup. Relatively kind of standard here in the sock industry. There's another one that's at $1.50 and $5 for the retail. So this is a much lower quality product and competitor, but it's going to drive a different type of sales to your store. So that's something you want to be taking into consideration. So in here, I'm just thinking cheap, probably not worth considering. That being said, a retailer might love it because they've got a lower end target demographic in their customer base. No problems at all. But you know, if you're considering where your brand is within the hierarchy of kind of luxury and cheap, then that's something that you want to be thinking about as well. Coming through, we have another example here. This customer's at $2.35, but they're at $8.99 for their retail price. Quite a large gap. There's questions there about the quality of the product if they're selling it so low and then the retail price is so high, but there's going to be retailers that like this. So across everything here, you're getting a relatively broad swath. We're kind of starting to get a lot of products at that kind of 2 times markup, 2.5 times markup. And then we've got some analytics here as well. So what's the highest wholesale price, lowest wholesale price, and really everything in between. What I like to do is kind of go off the averages or the medians. This gives you a rough idea of where you should be sitting within the business. So for example, we've got Faire Kind bamboo socks. The average wholesale price is suggesting that we need to compete against is $3.26. The average retail price we should be selling at is $8.08. That would give us a 2.67 times markup, or at least on average across all of the products. And this should give you an idea of kind of where are the bounds. So if we sit there with $3.95 for a wholesale price and $9.99 for a retail price, that gives us a 2.53 times markup, and that kind of looks within the median markup and the average markup. So you're in a pretty healthy position. Now let's just kind of check out the graphs to make sure and have a little bit of a sense check. We've got retail prices all the way from $12 to $5 We've got markup from 3 point something, 3.8 to 2 flat, and really everything in between. What I'm probably going to say is, okay, if we want to be comfortable pricing ourselves at $9.99, like we've got here, what's competitor 5? Competitor 5 is at $2.35. Their price is at $2.35 wholesale, so we actually probably want to be closer down just to, you know, I think show a level of product quality to your retailers, but there are going to be retailers that prefer that. But again, you need to work out what your cost prices are. So check that out, see where you kind of fit within the competitors, and it should give you a rough idea of where do your competitors sit, what's their wholesale prices, what's their retail prices, and then what's the markup and margins that your retailers are getting. They need to make enough money and you need to make enough money, so it's something you should be thinking about. Then let's go through to the ideal prices calculator. Now what we've done here is try to split it up into 3 ways, giving you what the ideal price should be per unit, per case, and per average order value. So that's because I think there are some people who are going to find it much easier to work it out off average order value. Some people are going to find it much easier to just do it on a cost by individual unit. And so that's kind of what we've done with units. So let's take this example product. This is not our product. It's just kind of some random numbers that I've put together to give you a really easy way to understand what does the product look like, what are the margins that you should be aiming for a brand, for a retailer, and for a distributor. So this product's got the cost price of the good. So that's actually the actual good, getting it into your warehouse and buying it. And the shipping cost per unit is actually the cost to get it out. Any customs, duties, taxes, any warehouse inbounding costs, so anything you've got from kind of shipping and inbound, picking, packaging, and any other costs. So this kind of gives you a rough idea of what do you think your cost per unit is. That is, of course, what you're going to fill out here because it's all in blue and white, I should say. And then any calculations are just flat without any of the blues in them. You can whack in cases. Some businesses it's important to be in cases. Some businesses it's not, but we've just put this here. So just say, for example, you're a soda brand and you've got 12 cans per package and you've done the COGS as a per unit cost, then you could just go in here and say, actually, my units per case is 12, so no problems. I've also put in roughly what the recommended retail prices, brand gross margins, distributor gross margins, and retailer gross margins, what they would be looking for. What I would say is that Faire is becoming increasingly a high margin product business only place. And that's because there's so many commission costs, shipping costs, payment fees, marketing that you have to spend on Faire to actually get the sale. So you need to make sure that you're being profitable both at the marketplace and in Faire Direct. And if you kind of follow our recommended markups and margins, then you're probably not going to go too wrong. What we definitely recommend though is to reduce your costs of manufacturing and any gross costs that you can as much as possible. That's really going to help improve the financials and make sure that you are profitable. You can sell heaps on Faire, and you can also sell heaps on Faire profitably and unprofitably, and you want to be making sure that you're selling profitably. So let's take this business where it's $2 COGS. Distributor margin we recommend at 30%. That can sometimes be 33%. It doesn't matter too much. Brand gross margins, what we typically recommend, this is basically the price difference between what you're selling your product to your retailers at and then the cost of that product to you. So we recommend 50 plus, really. You probably want that closer to 60% just so that you're making enough money. And this really shows you the importance of having a low cost of goods sold. So let's say it's 50% here, then the product cost to a retail price is $9.99. The wholesale price is going to be $4. But if we increase the brand gross margin to 60%, we suddenly have a retail price of $12.50, which is a very different price point for a customer, especially in this particular product. So let's kind of set that at 50%. And then the retailer gross margin as well is also going to then kind of level up. So you go your COGS plus your brand margin plus your retailer margin is going to be the total retail price. And so you really need to make sure that there's enough profit kind of from every step, from the product cost that you're getting all the way to the end user. So let's take this example, $2, distributor margins 30%, and then we're saying that the ideal price in this instance is $2.80, wholesale price is $4, and the retail price is $10. Let's take it in a different potential way. So I've also done it at the average order value from a wholesale perspective. That's because maybe you're selling a lot of goods kind of all bundled into one in your wholesale orders, and you just want to make sure that it makes sense at the order level as well as the unit level. So we've included this calculator here as well. Collect up all of the different cost prices that are involved in your COGS. In this particular example, we've then got, okay, $40 for the COGS. That means the distributor price is $56, the wholesale price is $80, and the retail price is then going to be $200. So you've got kind of a pretty good way to work out from top to bottom what is the price going to be for each individual aspect. The distributor price, the wholesale price, and the retail price, and what's that going to ideally give you. And all you need to know for that is what are your COGS and then what are the ideal margins. Now, I'll scroll up a little bit here because you will have seen the Faire markup calculator. What this Faire markup calculator is going to show you is there are massive costs involved with working with Faire, and they do a lot of work to find you these products. I've still yet to find a business that is successful on Faire that really kind of doesn't do anything other than just get into it and get excited by all of the new things that Faire is bringing out. So let's take commission, for example, at 25% plus $10 for US businesses. So you need to make sure you're considering that as well. Then you might have to be spending money on Faire marketing. Let's say that that's at 5 times or 6 times, which means that the conversion to as a percentage is going to be 17%. Now I've selected payment fees here of 1.9%, which can be typical for a 60-day term type of business, which means your total costs to work with Faire using their marketplace customers is going to be 43.57%, which is a lot of margin. If you've then got a gross margin of say 50%, your margin after Faire costs are going to be 6.4%. That's not much money to be making net, which shows you how important it is to get that gross margin really high as possible. We've then done a view where we have put in the current prices calculator. This basically just shows, okay, rather than saying, hey, what is the ideal price based off my cost of goods sold? What is the actual price that I'm getting at the moment for my clients? Just sense checking if you've already got this kind of done. We've built this first and foremost as someone setting their prices from the beginning, and then we've kind of put in a different aspect, which is for you to review what your current prices are and if they make sense for your business. So let's take, for example, this per unit. Exact same situation, but let's turn it to $12. We've got a wholesale price of $4, a distributor price of $2.80, and a cost of goods still at $2, which is calculated from the ideal prices part above. Now let's say that we actually have, we're trying to compete more fairly, and not fairly, we're trying to compete more strongly against cheaper competitors. Swipe that up to $3, set this still at $10, but yet we still haven't changed our cost of goods. What's going to happen here is then it's going to work out, okay, so the retailer margin is at 70%. That's how much money that they're making between the retail price and the wholesale price. But as you can see, your brand gross margin is 33%. And if we look up here before, we know that our total costs, if we work on Faire, can be upwards of 43%. Then we need to be careful that we're actually going to be making on a per order unit basis. Now, I can't reiterate this enough. Faire does a significant amount of work to find you new customers and marketplace customers. They also give you a lot of tools on your platform around, not having to worry about credit terms, making it super simple that you don't have to engage with the customer. All of your inventory is there. Everything's kind of locked and synced through Shopify, providing pre-orders, putting on events. So I will guarantee you, we're going to get comments below of businesses saying, oh my God, Faire is so expensive. It is, and it's probably only going to get more expensive. So what can you do as a brand? All of the retailers are going there. You need to have as high margin as possible from your cost of goods sold, getting that down whilst retaining that product quality. It's really going to be super crucial, even more so in the coming years. You also need to be aware that Faire isn't going anywhere. Retailers are joining the platform more and more. So you need to make sure that you are competitive, not just against someone kind of coming to your store and just liking your brand, but liking a whole lot of other brands and making sure that they're going to be understanding that your price is competitive, etc. Now, you could just sit there and think, well, it doesn't matter. I've got relationships with my clients. Well, these clients are going to be quickly looking for other products if you're not giving them enough money. You're going to be looking for other clients as well. You're not making enough money as a brand owner. So make sure that everything is tip top. And this sheet kind of helps you get there. We also wanted to put in some more high level requirements. So if you've got retailer marketing spend, promotions, discount, sales agents involved with distributors as well, that is sometimes crucial for some businesses, but you don't really need to worry too much. Mostly because if you're looking at this, you're probably going to be focusing on Faire, but we have also done the work for distributors as well. Distributor prices, we try to recommend that businesses attract distributors on Faire by doing a few things. Number one, on Faire, they've got their promotion set up, which I'll show you what ours looks like at the moment. Here you have free shipping over £200, free shipping plus 10% off over £1,000, and 20% off over £2,000. And that's to attract those businesses that are looking to work with businesses that can really put through a lot of volume in socks, for example, or whatever your other product is. Typically, distributor prices can start anywhere from kind of $5,000 a year. That's where you get that 33% discount. And so this is kind of stepping and allowing retailers to step their way up to a distributor discount over time, and starting to get them thinking that you can deal with their £50 order, their first £200 order, but also everything up to £2,000, $2,000 plus order. So I hope you like that. This is a really easy to use sheet. If you've got any improvements or you'd like to see, just message me down below in the comments and check it out. I hope it helps you make your pricing a bit easier. And and really demystify all of the really scary things that you're sitting there being like, what are my competitors doing? What am I doing? How should I change my prices? What are the ideal prices I should be setting? And just kind of getting a bit of guidance from someone who's been there and done that before. So I hope you like this video, and I'll speak to you guys soon.